Hey there, it's Nathan at FlippinOut Slingshots, and just want to show off a few naturals that we've made recently. So this is the natural that I made for the Bob Fiondo Masterclass, and you can see that on slingshotforum.com. But this was made from a cherry fork, and it had a big bulbous ring here. So I tried to emulate the Bob Fiondo V-style slingshot. So it's held like this. So we can see here that got a nice full swell here for the hand to go into. The pinky finger and the ring finger do all the holding, and everything else is just supporting. So it's almost like a hybrid pinch grip, thumb support slingshot. Feels really good in the hand. We've got about 2.5 inches between the forks there, but we can see in the variation. This is going to get a really nice color with age. This is made from black cherry, so this is going to be a beautiful slingshot. This is another black cherry slingshot. This is one that I did all with a knife and a piece of glass and the back of a screwdriver. So this one has been, you can still see the cut marks from the knife, but I worked it as fine as I could with the knife. It was a really big fork. And again, this is black cherry. Got some nice character to it. But I worked it down with a knife, and then did an oil bath for quite a few days and boiled linseed oil, and then continued to work it down, went finer and finer, and then that's when I started scraping it with glass, and I scraped it just till I had a smooth sheen on the top, and then I burnished it with a screwdriver, just the edge of a screwdriver. So I sealed it really hard. You can really see the nice wood cut from the knife blade on the fork tips there. It was just a simple natural. It was more just while I'm teaching my little boys how to carve. They're just learning how to use knives. I sit out there with them and make slingshots, and this is one I made over several evenings. But I thought that was pretty cool. That's a pretty simple way to make a really pretty slingshot, and that one's going to look great as well as it ages. And then this is one that has been sitting around my workshop for a while. This is Dogwood, and this Dogwood, it was a massive, massive branch. The cores of it, they probably started about like that. Really big, and used a wild bill vacuum method to infuse oil down into it, and got the oil all the way down into the core of the wood, and we held it under a vacuum for several hours, and really impressed with how the oil got down into the wood. And the reason I know it's down there is because the farther I carved, I was still gumming up my abrasives with the oily byproduct, and that doesn't happen with dogwood if it hasn't been treated with something else. So we got some really exquisite grain in there. And yeah, these are really thin, really narrow, but there's absolutely no worries about these breaking. They are, it's dogwood. If you know about dogwood, you know how tough it is. But I was really just trying to emulate the flowing lines of the original fork, and I'm not very pleased with it, but it's a really good shooting slingshot for a right-handed shooter. Feels great in the right hand. This really fills up the palm nicely. But it's a good target shooter for certain, and it's pretty wide between the forks, 2 3/4 inches or so, and it's got a nice cup shape. So, and then one here that I'm really excited about. This was just a Holley Fork, and again, it was another one that I made with my kids while they were learning to carve. And the grain isn't so exquisite on this one. There's not much about the wood, but just the natural shape of this one. So I built this, of course, for a right-hand hold, because that's how I hold it. I left this really full right here, so it'd fill up my palm here. And this is an amazing straight wrist hammer grip shooter. We can see here that my wrist is in a completely straight and neutral position, and I've got ideal fork alignment. And this thing, it shoots really, really well. I have shot it a little bit. Fork supported, shoots just as well that way. You get a really nice low to the hand fork, which I enjoy. I think this one will stay in my personal collection, and nothing special about it other than it's a good shooter. And again, this one was finished out in a linseed oil bath, but I did a different this time. I power sanded it using 600 grit sandpaper while the oil was still on the wood. So it was almost like a burnishing effect, and so I still get some nice texture. It's not slick, but it did give it a couple of years advantage on developing patina, because Holley's pretty dull on its own. So it really brought out a lot of the grain. So a couple of naturals I've worked on. Thanks for taking a look. Shoot them straight. Take care.